Oh, hi there. I've tackled issues in regards to marijuana, and I don't want to downplay the issues that are in regards to alcohol in doing so. I mean, I have in previous videos, but it's all about context, you see. So this video, I'm going to explain to you um, how the alcohol industry can be improved. Obviously, one of the predominant factors is care and control, and how some alcoholics have a tendency to get in their vehicle and start driving, even if they didn't have the intention of doing so when they were sober. Um, there's a lot about that, and the laws need to be enforced on that. I'm not exactly sure on what is the best way to tackle that. But another thing is adolescents who consume alcohol. It happens. Similarly, how it's definitely going to happen with marijuana. Um, it it's really hard to control that certain thing if there's irresponsible adults around. And the thing is, even when 19 is the legal age to buy alcohol in this particular province, um, the thing is, you need to be trained on how to drink alcohol properly if you decide that is how you want to spend your recreational time or it's a social activity for you. I know because when I was younger, I would get intoxicated, and there were some nights that I don't remember particularly well. Nothing happened, but that's not the point. The point is, obviously, something could have happened hypothetically, and it wouldn't have been good. And I think 19 should be level one as far as what alcohol you can purchase and what effects it can have on your body. And then, it's just a monetary thing afterwards. And then, because it really, for me, as far as alcohol consumption, I wasn't at my prime at being able to drink, know exactly what headspace I was going to be in, and how I was going to feel, and how I was going to feel the next day, until I was about 25. 25 was about the age that I was able to figure that out. Um, I mean, there were other factors that, at around about the age of 25, that had me kind of bummed out and things like that. Didn't have this social network of friends that I would have liked, and I was a bit bummed out about that. Didn't have any money, also bummed out about that. And alcohol, it was my friend. It still is. And some people will go, well, that exacerbates any kind of depression or anything like that. And I go, sure as fuck didn't for me. For me, it made me feel empowered, and it made me, feel rejuvenated. And that's not going to be the same for everybody, but about 25, where I was definitely at my comfort zone when it came to alcohol. That was also around about the time I had my stint with mental health. Actually, I believe I was 26 at the time, and they were savages, to say the least. Absolute savages in coats and paid too much money and that kind of thing. And my opinion will never change of them. Anyway, but that's beside the point. The point is, alcohol can be regulated and monitored to the point where people can consume alcohol, and they've been trained properly on how to consume alcohol, and therefore there isn't problems with care and control. There isn't problems with people at young age getting very, very, very drunk, and obviously the whole adolescent problem, how they don't know how to interpret alcohol properly, and misbehave, to say the least. um, I mean, when I was a young person, I didn't look at alcohol that way. and it was an activity for me, and not much bad came of it. When I say not much, I mean like I was a loudmouth and a jerk at times, but that was about it. Um, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that can be improved upon. And one thing is having two separate but labeled the same types of beers that I guess maybe you should only learn when you reach the age of 30 or something like that, when your mind has really matured. Because I think there's a lot of arrogant, 20-year-olds are running around thinking they know everything. A lot of arrogant 25-year-olds are running around thinking they know everything. A lot of arrogant 30-year-olds are running around thinking they know everything. And the thing is, you can always be made a fool, and the next generation that was, 5 years older than you, always knows things that you don't know. That's because that's the type of society we live in, where people hoard what little they know, and they feel that makes them smarter. And it's like, no, that makes you a manipulative, secretive cocksucker. I mean, if somebody asks me, exactly what my opinion on alcohol is, I'm going to tell them. I think it's amazing, and I think in the right dosage, it is a fun recreational activity. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. This is completely ignoring all the bad things that alcohol has contributed to. But as I said in previous video, that is not indicative to me. And there is a way to improve the system, except the concept of being the hero that alcohol may need as opposed to what it deserves. There is some validity to that, I suppose, but I'm still not on board with marijuana and all the kinds of effects it does. Like I explained how, the Predator movie, probably Venom too. I still haven't gone seeing that. I will see it, but not in a particular rush. And this is coming from a guy who quite often wears a Venom hoodie. And I grew up watching Spider-Man TAS Venom. And so that's the 90s cartoon of the Venom. And, it was a good character and, interesting story as a young person to watch. Anyway, I still haven't watched that because it's all leading to what I believe to be a mental disorder as far as how that movie's portrayed. Then they want to add marijuana to the mix and pseudo-intellectual adolescence to the mix, and it's like it spells bad news for everyone, because you'll have a generation of people who wouldn't take much to really rock their world, and that ain't right. And the thing about it is, like, marijuana is easier to conceal if someone were doing that, purchasing it in quantities, and it were happening to adolescents who don't know no better. I mean, this is not an easy subject to talk about, but the thing is, like, it will seep through the cracks of the legal system where marijuana gets in the hands of people who are not ready to interpret it properly, and much more easily than alcohol. And, that's not a good thing because it shouldn't be seeping through to adolescents anyway. And the part of the problem would be the perception of it. People will always revert to the back of their minds going, oh, well, I remember when these adolescents were drunk and blah, 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 blah. And what's a little marijuana in comparison? Shut up. You got a stupid fucking opinion. Um, alcohol has many problems, but they're easy to fix problems. It's more, the bias of the politics that are behind those problems that are the fly in the ointment, per se, or the malfunction. The thing holding up what is actually best for society over profit. That should be, those are two different things. What's best for society and profit. If you know anything about capitalism, and there's not much to know, basically, it's a bunch of greedy assholes who want to make a lot of money. That's essentially what it is. And they'll give you the stupid version of everything because they only know stuff that's like not interesting. I mean, there are, sports fans, obviously, and things like that, and sports players and things like that that have a bit more interesting of perception of life because they're privy to information that we are not. However, their world is not complicated. It can be long and tedious and boring, and it's like, why the hell would anyone even want to do this job in the first place? I have no idea. However, yeah, doesn't mean they know what's best. Because it's all about capitalist greed and them stuffing their pockets filled with money and their wallets bursting at the seams filled with money. And that makes them despicable people actually, because greed corrupts, and because of it, there will be misconceptions about certain things. I mean, it's easy to, look at alcohol's history and go, oh, look, that happened because of alcohol, blah, 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 blah. And, the women who are, all for prohibition and things like that. And it's like, fuck off. Us alcohol drinkers would like to drink alcohol. Yes, it can be improved. Like every system Canada has, every system North America has, it can always be improved. And introducing a relatively new type of I don't know what you call it, like self-medicating uh, combination of things, I don't believe is the right answer. Marijuana has been commonly smoked. Some people have actually gone to jail for lengthy amounts of time for carrying an insignificant amount of marijuana. That's their problem, not mine. But as far as the human system taking it in, it really only blossomed, I want to say in the last century, but probably it took longer than that, actually. And, like marijuana didn't even look the same even 25 years ago. I mean, that's hard for me to say as a man of 32 years of age, but I had heard that. And, the older crowd knows that, but, they don't like telling anybody, as I said earlier. They're hoarding to what little information they have. And sometimes, to be honest with you, I think that they're jealous at the amount of the access of information that we have via through the internet. Although, there's nothing important to learn on the internet. Anything on the internet is like, it's like, oh, that's an interesting tidbit here, or that's interesting to learn, possibly, or boring as fuck to learn. But there isn't anything really important to learn on the internet. Um, People have been swindled. They think that they're in the dawn of information when they're really in the light of confusion and disinformation and outright lies sometimes. However, it is convenient to listen to music and not have CDs. I admit that is one of the flaws of CDs, is that you don't exactly want to pay $15 for two damn songs. But maybe the artist would be a little more motivated, a little more incentive to create like more than one song that's any good. Maybe that would be an idea. Anyway, we're drifting off topic here. Um, I think it is entirely possible, getting back to alcohol, how to design it and design the system of how people, not get indoctrinated into learning how to drink, but are trained properly on how to enjoy alcoholic beverage and there not be any issues because they've been trained properly. It would not be me, of course, who would know how to do that best, other than getting marijuana out of the picture. That's about the only thing I know how to do. There'd be more capable people who would be better at doing that sort of thing than me. My mission, as far as I'm concerned, is to get marijuana off the menu as far as possible because I believe that there's, things about it that people aren't going to like and they're not going to notice until it's already in full force. And it being in full force is more than the government deciding that that's what's best for people. It's the people who are dependent on it because the government's addicted to their money. So they'll put little additives in it, whether they want to believe that or not. and they adamantly defend it themselves because they're dependent on it. Uh, I wouldn't even, be that go. I wouldn't even be going out of my way to bad rap marijuana, except that I see that in the long run there will be repercussions of marijuana entering the scene, therefore alcohol becoming more expensive because of resources. The blending of marijuana in with alcohol and that hybrid abortion, as I said last night, those are important things. Um, that's a whole pile of mess that I don't want them messing up my scene with alcohol, that's for sure. And I actually do have, a little bit of rights to talk about it. I went through a 8-year program where they were trying to get me to stop drinking alcohol. And I didn't like how they did it because it was an aggressive treatment plan I went through with in regards to mental health. Hate calling them that because that's a public relations name. That's not what they're really called, unless you're an idiot. Um, and you know what? Like, out of that, I still go, there's nothing wrong with alcohol. I didn't do anything wrong when I was drinking alcohol. And, other people who do things wrong when they're drinking alcohol, that's their problem. It isn't mine. And, we shouldn't be given the opportunity for people who've been smoking marijuana to go and cause problems or do something wrong. Because marijuana is by far not perfect. Not by a long shot is that stuff perfect. And, I have observed it, as I've said in previous videos, because I live in British Columbia. You can't not see people smoking marijuana. In fact, there are so many people who are arrogant, they'll try blowing it in your face if they can. Well, they totally will. That goes with peer pressure. And how I don't think marijuana has the same bad rap as alcohol does, and it doesn't deserve it. Like, I think it'll be one of those things that, it'll have a laxed um, view of the whole thing in regards to people where they can smoke it, how they can smoke it, and also, adolescents getting a hold of it. All that stuff is wrong, and I don't think public opinion is correctly placed at the moment, and it's because this is the new thing coming that's going to be legal, and the propaganda surrounding it is, it's ignoring obvious facts about it to perpetuate their image of it so that they can make massive amounts of money. Um, so there has to be a system in place for marijuana that's going to work. I've heard some positive things on the news stations that they're working on that. They're creating laws and things like that that will help remedy some of the problems. And I think a lot of those laws in practice would work on alcohol as well, keeping it out of the hands of people who cannot handle it. And they felt that way about me in regards to alcohol, and I disagreed with them then, and I disagree with them now, and I'm going to disagree with them in the future. There are better ways of doing things, but you that is, Pandora's box, talking about that sort of stuff, and it's like it's very easy to get into huge, massive arguments about how to better society, because the truth about bettering society is, uh, it it's really about your own perception of what society is and what's wrong with it. Because I think I've made this statement before, but you can be absolutely right in your position based on what you know, your experiences and things like that, and have the best opinion possible for your situation. However, there is going to be somebody else who, from their perspective, is also absolutely right, and both of your opinions contradict each other. It was similar to how I made, that Eminem video where I was trashing one of his songs that he had released, where he was disrespecting Donald Trump. And I said, look, in his situation, I probably wouldn't have done things particularly different than him. It wouldn't have been the exact same, but I wouldn't have done things that much different from him if I were in the same scenario as him. And I said that, look, I'm a Donald Trump supporter, and Eminem said, something about a line in the sand and how he was waging war against Donald Trump supporters. I'm like, who the fuck are you even talking to here? Like, I'm here doing my own thing. I got my own program going on, as I like to say. And you're threatening war with me, and I like don't even hardly know you. And like, I don't mean him personally. I mean, his acolytes, the people who grew up listening to his music. I can't actually name any of his songs because like I don't like that style of music. I simply don't like it, and you really won't like it after you watch 8 Mile. For reasons I'm not going to say because then my video will get banned. But oh wait a minute, I already said the word, so why not? Niggers, nigger, 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 nigger. That's the reason why I don't like Eminem's scene. Big part of it. And oh, by the way, them telling you, oh, but if you play with our program, you get some black women. That falls along the category of not fucking good enough. And more problems than it's worth. And a lot of that, there was some. I watched 8 Mile like a long time ago, like probably a year after it came out. I have no idea when it came out, but I haven't seen that movie in ages because I was immediately averted from watching it because of what I know about things. And I know who Donald Trump is, and I know how he did some things that or promoted the idea of some things that I would find disgusting. Um, However, his message and moving forward, I believe things can be done differently, of course. Um, but yeah, as I said, like I would not go out of my way to tell Eminem that I think he's a cunt. But I mean, if he came around my parts or any of his acolytes or stooges or whatever you want to call them, came around and started, telling me what for, I could tell them what for very easily, very quickly, and very precisely exactly what's wrong with what they do. And it won't be what they want to hear. And again, it's not that they're wrong in their position necessarily. However, I believe that I'm not wrong in my position, which may contradict their one. And that's part of making a better society is that you try and figure out problems and how to solve them. And sometimes someone's opinion of what's right is different from somebody else's. And when that happens, unfortunately, sometimes it can brood into giant arguments. I mean, let's not forget about World War One here. Um, anyway, to sum up this video, there can be a process of where people are trained properly on how to drink alcohol so that all the little problems like drinking and driving, um, unnecessary aggression, all these sort of problems that come sometimes with alcohol can contribute to them, where those don't happen. That people can be trained properly. And that really is where the problem lies, is that people aren't trained properly. And, it should be their choice whether if they want to, consume alcohol or marijuana. And it shouldn't be by manufactured consent. It should be actually what they think and not what they've been told what to think their entire lives. I think that was the underlying message of what Justin Trudeau tried pushing with, the LGBTKFRZ, or whatever the fuck, a bunch of letters, was the freedom of choice. Yeah, except with that whole program, and then funny enough, his next program is legalizing marijuana, so take that into consideration. Like, what are they going to be putting in that shit? Like estrogen or something like that? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, the underlying message was people getting to choose, and I mean, they should be able to really get to choose who they want to be, and that is not by manufactured consent. Um, because, occasionally in the last couple of years, you'd flick on the news station, I noticed anyway, and there'd be some hideous abortion drag queen type thing, and it's like, ugh! Like gross, and not what somebody else would interpret what as gross. What I find is gross. Something is repugnant. I want it away from me. I don't want to even see it. I don't want to look at it. Ugh. But anyway, it's too early in the morning for that repulsive kind of a thought. So anyway, yeah. Again, to sum up, um, alcohol and the training of alcohol can be done better. Anyway, I will talk to you people later. Have a good one.